For those of you who are parenting teens, I know it must sometimes feel like your child has turned into an alien and you just have to hang in there and try to survive the teen years. But actually, this is the time more than ever that you need to lean in to strengthen your connection with your teen. This is especially key because your teens are in a stage of individuating from you, and their natural bent will be to buck your control in their lives. That means that lecturing them at this stage doesn't work, nor does trying to control their choices with anger and harsh consequences. Instead, the more connected I am to my teens relationally, the more likely I am to be a strong influence in their lives. So in practical terms, what does this mean for you as a parent of a teen? Well, I've come up with 5 principles to help you, which I'm calling the HEART principle. H stands for hear and respond to your teens with empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand how another person feels. It doesn't mean that you agree with their beliefs or perspective, but that you understand. Empathy is one of the most powerful qualities of a close relationship and actually unlocks the brain's natural calming chemicals, making it reassuring to feel understood by someone. Part of building a healthy relationship with our teens is to communicate to them that what they think and feel is important to us, and that we take their concerns seriously. Many parents are afraid to show empathy because they think it might jeopardize their authority. But you can validate your teens' feelings without giving up your authority or the need to sometimes set consequences for their poor choices. This helps them to calm down and deal with strong feelings, a very critical skill they're going to need to manage their emotions. Now, E stands for esteem and encourage your teens. Be your teens' champions. Look for and encourage their strengths rather than the weaknesses. Regularly tell them what you admire about them, what makes them special and unique. And at the same time, watch what comes out of your mouth. See how often you speak critically or negatively to your teens rather than positively. And watch your tone of voice as well. Is it impatient and harsh or gentle and loving? Do you know that research shows that it takes 9 positive statements to outweigh the power of just 1 negative statement? In most situations, we're faster to criticize than we are to encourage. And do you know that your kids are bombarded with 1,200 commands a day? Dave, get up, hurry up, go to the bathroom so your sister can use it, put the milk away, where's your homework, and on and on. Now, while kids do need instructions and direction, parents must remember that correction and commands are primarily negative interactions. It doesn't feel good to be corrected, and it doesn't feel good to be told what to do 1,200 times a day. Now, this next one is closely linked. A stands for accept your teens with grace. God has carefully created each one of your children with their own gifts and talents and temperaments and quirks and likes and dislikes, and not one of them are alike. Of course, it could be the very thing that drives you nuts about them, but rather than nitpicking and focusing on the things that you don't like about your teens, choose to do a study of what makes them unique and special, and choose to be thankful of all the things that are different about them. Now, in this environment and grace and acceptance, we then add R, restore and forgive one another. Our teens will anger us so many times, especially when they lash out with anger, and they'll do things that cause us great pain. But each incident left unforgiven and unresolved is like a brick wall between our hearts. It can lead to bitterness, contempt, and really negative filters, to the point where our teens can do nothing right. It can leave all of our interactions with our teens being very negative and critical. And for many parents, they don't often see themselves as wrong. They think they're always right in every dispute with their teens. Too many kids come to my practice with their spirits closed because their parents never apologize or own their own wrongdoings. As a parent, model humility by going to your teen first. Own your part of the conflict, even if it's only 1%, and humbly ask for forgiveness. And don't say, I'm sorry, but, and try to minimize or justify it, but just say, I'm sorry. As you know, we're not perfect parents, but those of us who take ownership of our mistakes are teaching our kids to take responsibility for their own mistakes. And we're also admitting that in this environment of making mistakes, our kids are more likely to come to us when they're struggling with temptations or consequences of bad decisions or choices, because they know they'll be forgiven. And they also know that's a normal part of being human, is messing up. And finally, T stands for treasure your teens. When you think of something you treasure, do you treat it with great reverence and respect, or do you simply toss it aside carelessly and take it for granted? It means not only treating them with tenderness, but also letting that play out in how you actually do life with your teens. You may say that they're important to you, but do they actually feel that from you? Do they see you putting aside important demands on your time to attend to them? Do they see your willingness to drop everything in a drop of a hat when they're in real need of you? Do they hear you bragging about them and talking about them with great delight? If you look at how much time and energy and attention you devote to your teens, are you giving them what's due as to something that's treasured? Teens need a lot of focused attention and a huge amount of verbal affirmation. If you choose to parent with your heart during that very brief time that you have with your kids before they spread their wings, you are going to have lifelong, wonderful friendships with your kids. And you'll continue to be an influence in their life because you will be someone that they trust to support them regardless of what happens in life.